All right, well, here we go. I'm an idiot for this, but it's a live nightcap right here on BearcatJournal.com. Therapy session. Hi, Aaron. Do we need to go to www.galacticfriedchicken.com? Wednesday,
I was waiting for
Sunday, 15%. Blah 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 blah. There we go. Sorry, Shane. I people don't want to hear an ad right now. Go to Galactic. They'll deliver to your house from the app. You go to the app, www.galacticfriedchicken.com. Pretty much anywhere inside the 275 loop. Pump it up, 15%. Chicken tenders, chicken dunkers. You know the spiel by now.
It's good.
It's very good. It's awesome stuff.
Especially when you're looking for comfort food.
Unlike the basketball tonight, especially the final 9 minutes.
So I know people talked about it a couple weeks ago. I'm in the middle of trying to get this text out saying that we are live now. By the way, thank you, Brian Martin, new member. We appreciate you. Yeah. That was a meltdown.
That absolutely was a meltdown.
I know people tried to bring up a meltdown against Houston. Houston wasn't a meltdown. That, by definition, was a meltdown tonight.
Tulane was a meltdown.
Yeah, but you pulled it out. Well, no, they didn't. Not that one. Not that one.
Right now.
I didn't see us losing this one.
No, but it's the same. Like, honestly, there really wasn't much different from me than what I saw happen in the Tulane game. The defense was an absolute disaster in the second half. An unmitigated, absolute disaster. You cannot let ECU go 17 of 29 from the floor, 5 of 10 from 3. So what, that's 19, 12. They went 12 of 19 from 2 in the second half. If they didn't go 7 of 15 from the free throw line, this would have been worse. And this is where I'm going with this, UCF superfan. We see how much Vic matters, and it's absolutely true. They figured out if we isolate and we go to the rim, they don't have an answer. And Cincinnati did not have an answer. And I thought, especially in the second half, like, Cincinnati got too comfortable trading baskets. They're up.
That's fair.
They're up 10, 11 through the first part of the second half. They hit the little spurt to go up 16. And at that point in time, Aaron, it was every trip somebody was scoring. It went from 11 to 9, 11 to 9, 11 to 9, and then you get a stop, and it goes from 13 to 11, 13 to 11, 13 to 11. Like, the defense was just an unmitigated. Somebody check on Berg. Oh, I'm scared. Yeah. I'm scared to check on Berg. The defense was an unmitigated disaster in the second half. So, I mean, you can't let ECU score 45 points in the second half and slash 58 and 50.
You may know the answer to this. I only know of this being the second game that Roy Williams has shown up to with.
I think they've lost both.
Well, they definitely lost the first one, and they definitely lost tonight. I just didn't know if he had been to any other games or if those were the only two.
It was what, Houston last year?
Yeah.
I think. And then, obviously he's in North Carolina, so he made – I feel so bad for that man. He made a trip to Greenville for this. Like, it's not like you're flying into Greenville. Like, he had to make like a multiple hour drive. I feel bad for that man.
Unless he hopped a PJ.
Yes, Chugs. You are absolutely the only one who wouldn't be sad to see Landers Nolly not return. That's just you. You are the only person on that island.
I mean, Landers Nolly was firing on all cylinders when Vic was in the lineup. You have to have a big. And look, that's not a knock on the minutes that I thought Kalu put up really good minutes when he was in. 18 minutes, 8 points to show for it. 3 rebounds.
No, he only played, I'm sorry, I'm looking at the second half. That's my bad.
3 rebounds. I thought 4 or 5 for the night. I mean, I thought when he was in there, he was actually really good energy at the spot.
I agree.
Several blocks.
Yeah, but he got punked on the offensive. Like they did a lot of work on the offensive glass when he was on the floor. I think that's part of why his minutes weren't higher.
I think he's better suited as a 4 than a 5.
Yeah, but you don't have a 5.
I know.
Again, you are playing without 3 of your top 8.
Oh, Sam, this is not worse than NKU. Come on, man.
Actually, the predictive metrics from KenPom say that it is.
Well, I don't care. I don't think it's worse than NKU. Wright State ran NKU out of the gym.
They're not. ECU's not good. They're not good.
I would not be surprised to see RJ Felton on a Power 5 roster next season.
Maybe. I just look. It's self-inflicted. Like, these guys have shown a lot of grit, a lot of toughness at times this year, but on the road, it vanishes. Like, it for whatever reason, it just goes away for stretches, and it makes no sense to, like, you controlled ECU in the first half,
even half of the second half.
If you look, no, I don't agree with that. You outscored them by a little bit, but you did not. Their offense was getting whatever they wanted in that part of the first part of the second half that you're talking about. Cincinnati just opened the half on a 7-0 run in like 1 minute. So when you look at the disparity in points, a lot of it is because they had a good 2 minutes to start the half. But from there, it was just basket. Like, there was.
Look, you will not catch me apologizing for them defensively, because that's
no. What I'm saying is, what looked like control for the, like, up until they got the 16-point lead with 9 minutes to go, it was just tit for tat. Like, it wasn't Cincinnati playing well, I guess is what I'm getting at. They just are. They have some offensive weapons that when they're hitting jump shots, when they're hitting long twos. And then I think the thing that I know people hate when I do this, but ECU changed the coverage with about 10 minutes to go. And that was they changed their ball screen coverage. And that was how Cincinnati was scoring at the rim, is that Dave was finding people off the high pick and roll, be it Odie or be it Kalu, and then they just started switching. And instead of, this is kind of the residual of last year, right? When everybody was hard hedging Dave and trying to push him out, like, teams are still doing that. But now, with Vic out, they're going, oh, wait. If we play Kalu and Odie man up and aren't giving them wide open dunks off of high ball screens, then they can't throw the ball inside. So ECU changed their coverage. Cincinnati no longer was getting the roll off the high pick and roll that was being successful, and that pushed them out, made them a jump shooting team. What happens when we've seen them be a jump shooting team, Aaron? Occasionally they go cold. And when they go cold, they go ice fucking cold.
They did. And they did that tonight for sure. And the final stretch was very difficult to watch. Getting out rebounded, though, 46-27. That's not a way to win a game.
And that happened from the jump. And I think at one point they were down 19-10. Like, they were dominated on the glass instantly. And I had this, and I put it on Twitter as the game was happening. I had this continuing fear that is going to allow ECU back in the game at some point if Cincinnati didn't stop the bleeding on the glass. And they never did. Aaron, they missed 31 shots. They got 4 offensive rebounds. 4 on 31 misses.
That's horrendous.
It's not just, look, they got dominated on the defensive glass. 19 offensive rebounds for ECU. But I think it was worse on the other end, because if you're gonna miss shots, if you're gonna have a day where you're not, it was 26-6 in the last 10 minutes, Kathy. Get it right. And it was 9 minutes, technically. They went up 16 with right over 9 minutes to go, and then it was 26-6 the rest of the way.
I don't know. I think the plus minus tells a little bit of a story. I know people are trying to make fun of me for Kalu, and when I said he was solid in the chat here, but Odie minus 10 when he was on the floor. Kalu plus 13. That's a bit of a difference.
Yeah.
Say what you will. I know he only gave you 3 rebounds. I get it. Again, can't really defend that. But I thought his energy was fantastic tonight. He gave you something offensively. I didn't feel like he was a liability at any point in the game offensively. And again, that plus minus at 13, that led the team.
Yes, it did. It was the highest plus minus on the team. To be plus 13 in 18 minutes, like I know people will poo-poo plus minus, but if you're plus 13 in 18 minutes, like, that's pretty good. Say what you will, it's pretty good.
It's almost a half of basketball.
Yeah, pretty good.
I mean, it's not like he was only out there for the 7-0 run or something like that. You know what I mean? Like, just saying.
How much of this can be blamed on coaching? Didn't seem like we made any adjustments to combat their adjustments. Here's what I asked, Jack. What adjustments? Like, we don't know. That's why I'm so, like, I talk about them when I see them. I saw, and the ECU coach confirmed it. I saw one adjustment from them that I just talked about, that they started switching the high ball screen so that they weren't leaving the roll man wide open at the rim. That's the one adjustment I noticed. But what adjustment? Tell me, here's the thing. Instead of just saying adjustments, let's talk about it. Did you see adjustments?
How many adjustments can you really make when the only adjustment you really need to make is just having Vic?
Right.
Like, you can't make that adjustment.
Or not miss 9 of 10 good looks down the stretch.
Well, at one point, I think the announcers even said, like, they hadn't made a shot in
It was
4 or 5 minutes.
Yeah, well, they had a stretch where they didn't make a shot in over 3 minutes, and then they didn't score. There's a 7-0 run to end the game. You need somebody to make a shot, to say, Brett. Let me ask you this. They have played zone a little bit this year. It has been an absolute disaster when they've done it. It's been disaster. They do not have any of the elements you need to play a zone. Length up top, size on the wings. They already have a problem rebounding. So you're short, you're 6'6", 6'7". You do not have, like, if you watch Syracuse, Jim Boeheim's been recruiting to that zone for 100 years. He's an asshole. I agree. But when he has great teams, they are 6'8", 6'9" on the wings. And they're 6'3", 6'4" up top. And they've got long arms, and they're pressuring you, and they're pushing you out. And the only chance you have is to shoot over them and make threes. Cincinnati doesn't have any of that. You're going to have Dave, Micah, Landers, and JD as they've been the number one defense in the conference since the start of conference play. You can try a zone, and then when it gets beat, you wonder why you gave up 4 possessions. Now, tonight, look, man, I'm not going to argue with you about tonight because they could have played a box and 1, triangle and 2, 1-3-1, 2-3, man-to-man.
All
the defenses, and maybe done a little bit better than how bad they just got destroyed defensively tonight. Okay, they kept attacking Dave, and we let them keep going after him. Okay, so they put Micah on him, and they do the same thing.
Yeah, Micah.
Rob is not here. John Newman is not here.
And Dan doesn't defend well.
No. So what is the change that suddenly makes it better? It's like, look, I get this because this is what we do, right? We're not involved in it. We talk about it. This is what we do. Well, just do something. And again, tonight, you're probably right. They gave up. Hold on. I want to know the exact number. I didn't look at it yet.
Of what?
Well, that's not nearly as. Here's the funny thing, Aaron. Who do you think gave up more points per possession? Well, okay, it makes sense. Who had more points per possession in the second half or in the game? UC. Why did ECU have they had so many offensive rebounds? But here you go. This is what I was looking for. Points per possession, Aaron, in the second half. What do you think?
Points per possession in the second half?
Yeah.
Cincinnati's wasn't good.
No, ECU's.
Oh. Points per possession?
1.0 is generally average.
I'd say 1.5.
1.438, which is an abomination. Vomit-inducing defense. 1.4 points per possession in the second half.
Not good.
Defense lost us this game, yeah. Call a timeout and talk about it. They did. He used all of his timeouts down the stretch. If you're gonna complain, be right. Yeah, that's what we talked about at the beginning of the show, John. Even when they had the double-digit lead, the entire second half, it just felt like trading baskets. And that's what 1.4, over 1.4 points per possession given up on defense. And Penn is exactly right. Dave is the best defender on the perimeter. So, yeah, they continued to put Dave on the guy that ECU was trying to isolate and score. He didn't stop him. He didn't make enough plays defensively. Double Felton. Okay, so then you go back to the Tulane game where they were shading and playing more of a defense that was designed to send 1.5 to 2 guys at Jalen Cook, and got shredded. Like, you don't have the length and the overall defensive cognitive ability. You have your 3 best defensive players are out. And the rest of these guys were recruited here to come help with the offense. Or they're on the roster to help with the offense. UC is getting exposed because they don't have high-end defenders on this roster. And the reason they don't right now is the high-end defenders that they do have are not playing right now.
They do. They're just injured, right?
Right. They're here. They were recruited for that reason. They're just not on the floor. So the defense is going to suffer.
You're missing 3 of your best defenders right now between Newman, Rob, and Vic.
When will we land a big man to complement Vic? You would hope this year.
I concur.
Jared, we're not going to do this all fucking night, man. Like, if the talent disparity is as bad as Chad makes it sound, they wouldn't have been up 16 in the first place. They were up 16 because they made all of their shots.
Yeah, I mean, they
because
finished
they had a guy that was out of his damn mind to build that lead. Actually, it probably should have been, Aaron. Probably should have. And JD has a normal half, even a normal, like, good half for JD, where he scores 8-9 points, hits 2 threes and a layup. That's a tie game at halftime. JD scored 16 points in the first half. That carried them. Mm-hmm. Landers was the next best with 7, and nobody else had more than, I think, 5. Dave might have had 5.
Cincinnati did finish shooting 47% for the night. Like, that's not bad.
The offense, outside of the closing stretch where they couldn't
the last 9 minutes, right?
The offense wasn't bad. The defense was terrible in the second half. Terrible. Sam, UC didn't stop trying 3/4 of the way through tonight. They didn't try hard most of the game. Most of the game.
I will say, if you didn't talk about somebody scoring 1,000 points, the media would be shit on for not discussing somebody who scored 1,000 points. I get it.
Second,
you lost.
Those happened during the game. As they happened, they tweeted about those guys scoring 1,000 points. You guys are looking for things to be upset about. And I understand that. It's a loss. It's a bad loss. It's a loss that shouldn't have happened. It's a loss that has us all generally feeling a lot like we did after NKU. Because it shouldn't have happened. It shouldn't have happened. I get you, Sam. You wanted to make a Luke Fickle joke. The players are posting. They're happy for the guys that they play with. Give me a fucking break, man. Come on. They're not allowed to be happy for a guy that they like. You're looking for a reason to be upset, Graybush. Like, I get it. You're mad.
Brad, Kansas State had the Big 12. They were already in the Big 12 as they were actively recruiting. That's very different than, hey, come play in the AAC for a year.
Kansas State also, their best or second best player, very few programs in the country would touch. He died on the floor. He died on the floor. And they had to resuscitate him and bring him back. He's a great kid. He's an awesome player. But most places would not take Keontae Johnson because of the fear of what might happen.
High risk, high reward.
It worked out for them. Congratulations. Like, I want that kid to succeed. From everything I've known about that kid, watched him in AAU, know a lot of people that know him or are close to him. He's amazing. But he's got a heart, like a major heart concern. So kudos to Kansas State and Jerome Tang for taking that chance, taking that risk. But let's not pretend like that was a slam dunk that everybody in the country was trying to do. Is this worse than NKU? About the same. I'm going to say, I don't know. Scoring 11 points at NKU in the second half of a game you had no business losing.
I still think it was worse.
You think this is worse?
No, I think NKU was worse. I already said that earlier, and people shit on me for that.
They're both games you can't lose. Like, let's reality. If you win both of those games, this is a 19-win team right now.
There is that.
You can't lose either of those games, but it's sports. So,
there's something here I'm not sure if you wanted to touch or not, so I'm not throwing anything up.
You can put it up. I'll talk about it.
All right.
you know the last thing Bob Huggins wanted was Mick Cronin as the coach here.
Well, what I would say is
adamant against it as anybody.
What I would say to that is our culture of winning and toughness is a little different than, I don't know, North Carolina's culture of winning
and
toughness.
yeah. Come on, man. This guy came from the ultimate blue blood.
It might be okay that he has no ties to Huggins or Cronin.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, this has always been it's a basketball staple. If the other team makes more free throws than you take, the chances are you're not going to win. Also, if you get out rebounded on the offensive glass 19-4, great. But I'm going to say I'm going to make this a new. If you lose by 15 on the offensive glass, you cannot win. It's very hard to win.
Dude, you got to stop with Wes Miller being fired. He just got an extension.
He's not going anywhere.
If
you're here to fill the chat with that, Aaron, we're not going to do it.
Just bite the bullet. He's here for 2-3 years. It'll be okay.
What's the Huggins didn't win Cronin story? Have you not been hanging around for the last 16 years? Mick left. Bob felt like Mick betrayed him, even though Bob was contemplating an NBA job. And while he was doing that, Mick went to work with Pitino. Huggins never forgave Mick for leaving. And Huggins wanted Andy, obviously, to get the job. Andy didn't get the job. Mick did. It's not the dots are not hard to connect. It's not a puzzle.
I mean, there seems to be a UC trend where if one of your assistants leaves, you're bitterly jaded and maybe don't talk to them or wish for their success in the future.
Ever again.
Speaking of, I wonder how Gino's going to fare leaving for Notre Dame.
Dead. Dead.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah, Mick made the right move. He's the head coach at UCLA. He's doing all right. He's got the number 4 team in the country.
Well, the good news out of tonight is that is the last trip to Greenville.
Ever.
Never again.
I do this is what you always were. That was an emotional game for that place.
Well, and the announcer said as much.
They had their Dan Hoard die the night before a game on the road. That was an emotional place. And once they started getting some momentum, you could feel it kind of rolling downhill. Did Gino stop at Madison for a cup of coffee? Yeah.
Gino saw what a linebackers coach did to Cincinnati. He's like, I think I'll do the same.
No, it's Gino's not a tight ends coach. Here's give Fick credit. Gino was about to get left on the vine and not have a landing spot.
After having just had a baby during the search.
Fick gave him a landing spot. Freeman had, with the way things played out up there, had an opening for quarterback coach. He called Gino. Gino took it. Awesome. More power to him. Dan Orr jinxed us with the tie. We're not messing with the. Come on. The guy passed away. I love jokes. But
you don't do posthumous jokes?
Not
on a night honoring.
Yeah. But ultimately, they weren't tough tonight. I think that's the thank you.
Welcome to the
W2 Top G.
Top G.
And then Kenny with the super sticker. Thank you. I know, Jeffrey. I know you're just kidding.
We know.
Yeah, I'm. It's time for that. You're right.
I'd put his job as the answer. That was a loss this bad.
Look, it was an ugly loss. There's no excuses to be made. The only thing Okay, you want to blame Wes? Okay, blame Wes. But like, what are we blaming? Like, where does the blame lie? Is it not building the roster back up fast enough? Okay. Is it not having the sorcery to understand that the way you built the roster, two of those guys are going to play a grand total of like two of your main guys that your backup would have ended up your backup point guard and your starting wing, your starting defensive stopper. We're going to play a total of like 10 games. And then right as you get into the home stretch, your third best, your other great defensive player or plus defensive player was going to go down with an ankle sprain. So you can say in-game management. And that, like, I get, yes, they have lost big leads, especially on the road. I wish there was an easy answer as to why that has happened. And I think I've cut in terms of just sheer basketball conversation, I think I've covered a lot of that. They don't have downhill attackers. Dave tried to do a lot of that. Simone and I were texting at halftime. Dave was trying to play downhill and pump fake and get into guys and get fouled. It resulted in a really bad first half. And then in the second half, started playing sideways again and getting that step back jumper and doing the things that he's good at. And all of a sudden his numbers took a jump.
Yeah.
He's just not a downhill player. And when your best downhill player is Micah.
I still think it's Dan, but Dan can't finish. That's the only issue with Dan, is I worry about him finishing.
He's got to be stronger. Like, Dan has got to get stronger. That's Mike Rayfeld's job this offseason, is to get Dan more power in his core.
Sure.
Because too many times he gets up. Mick would have killed him because he loves the finger roll. Mick hated the finger roll.
I mean, go up strong, big fella.
Do one of those. Or right over top. Just, like, give me a break. Nobody's rewarding mediocrity.
Sorry.
None of that is happening. We are talking. UC played a game. They lost a game. Our job is to talk about it. Nobody's rewarding anybody for anything. We have spent the past 33 minutes saying they played like shit.
Also comparing it to the NKU loss and debating which one was worse, because we still don't know. It's a bad loss. It's an embarrassing loss. No one's okay with it. But you can't. I don't know why you can say that. Oh, Chris Beard's coming here. What the fuck are you talking about? They just extended their head coach. Is he coming as an assistant? Like, what is Chris Beard going to do here? Is he going to coach up the women's lacrosse team that hasn't been announced yet because they need to find scholarships like the baseball coach talked about the other night? I don't know what he's going to do here.
Case,
come on, man.
Okay, I think this is where most people are coming from. The roster has quite a bit of talent, even with injuries. You can't lose to ECU and NKU. Have we excused that? Have we said that's okay? No, we haven't. Blow out to a bad OSU. At the time, OSU was not bad.
Correct.
Going into January, they had the number 1 ranked offensive efficiency in the country.
They were ranked.
They have fallen apart since then, but that's not the team that played UC. Just can't happen at the University of Cincinnati. Not acceptable. Okay, then don't accept it. Like, Aaron, that's one of my least favorite phrases on the planet. Unacceptable. Okay, then don't accept it.
It's one of my favorite phrases to use.
Maybe even for that reason. Shit ever to say.
Maybe even for that reason.
Because it drives me nuts. Unacceptable. Unacceptable.
Unfathomable.
Inexcusable is the other one.
Well, isn't that the word that what was the word from Princess Bride? Wasn't it inexcusable? I don't remember. It's been a while
I don't
since I've watched
ever
the movie.
remember watching The Princess Bride.
Oh, that's a good one. Inconceivable. There it is.
Inconceivable. No, it's conceivable. I conceived it. She's upstairs.
Thank you, JD. Appreciate it.
We did conceive her. She's upstairs. Aaron conceives lots of things.
Man. MP Sanders, I don't know if I've not seen your name in the chat, I don't believe, before today. I was concerned about the last 7 games before Vic went down. Not this game in particular. Again, before Vic went down, but I was concerned about the away games at Tulane, at UCF, at Memphis.
Yeah, they have struggled, and actually it's been weird. They've been really good in the first half on the road. And then for whatever reason in the second half, implosion.
Yeah.
I'm joking about inconceivable, JD. Jesus. It's like people, are you new here, JD? Is JD new?
No, JD's been around.
Okay.
Newman,
I make bad jokes.
I don't know that Newman's going to be eligible for a medical red shirt.
Yeah, he will be.
Yeah?
Yeah. If he wants another, so
he's going to be like 25.
Okay, but this is COVID. Like, he's still a COVID kid. So
it's just crazy. He's going to be like the what was the quarterback for, was it Florida State?
So essentially, this would have been his 5th season to play 5.
Brandon
this
Whedon?
year. Whedon, yeah. This would have been you get 5 seasons, you get 6 years to play 5 with COVID. This would have been his 5th year to play 5. But if he sits this year,
incorrigible.
Oh, like I said, JD, I don't remember The Princess Bride. I haven't seen The Princess Bride. I don't know. It's been a long time. My bad. That's my bad. I'm sorry.
It was the guy who dies via poison.
Oh, okay. I thought he was saying that I was making my conceiving joke was bad.
No, it was
okay.
No one's questioning your
my bad jokes, my dad jokes.
I mean, becoming a dad jokes at that point. Jesus.
Chris Winky. Oh man. Newman gonna get his 4th degree. Yeah, DeAndre Williams from Memphis is almost as old as Aaron.
I mean, that's incorrigible.
Oh man! Anything else stand out to you? You want to talk about Aaron, or
what? This is a good question. What's a realistic seed? What's a realistic seed in the tournament now?
4 or 5.
Still?
Yeah.
I guess if we look at, I'd say we just fill the chat with Princess Bride quotes for the rest of the stream. That's hilarious. Let me find the standings here as we currently are. Cincinnati right now at 5, 8-6 in conference. UCF at 6-6. Wichita State at 6-7 behind Cincinnati. Both of them behind Cincinnati. Temple at 8-5 ahead of Cincinnati. Obviously, you still have that game coming up. Memphis at 9-3, so you're not catching Memphis. I don't know. I mean, I guess if you lose to UCF, are they going by winning percentage? Because I guess you're potentially looking at 6.
No, I mean, everybody's going to play 18 games. Like, of course, it's a little uneven now because teams still have their bye week, all that good stuff. You know what I mean? But ultimately, everybody's going to play 18 games. Yeah. Uh-oh, we lost Aaron.
I don't know what happened. My monitor said I needed to reload. It's so stupid.
Everybody's going to play 18 games. Right? Like that's the conference schedule. Everybody's going to play 18. So that'll all even itself out as we get to the finish line. So it won't be winning percentage. It'll just be what's your record in the conference.
Well, I mean, UCF 6-6. If Cincinnati loses at UCF, you're potentially looking at the 6th seed.
If they fall apart, they could dip down to 6. Yeah.
If they fall apart, they could dip down to 7. As Wichita State.
Wichita State, yeah, is not terrible. I guess
still at 6 and 7. Does the 6th seed avoid Houston? Do you remember? Or was it the 7th seed that we said? I thought it was the 7th seed.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 6 would play 3. 7 would play 2. So
Thanks,
6 and 7 would both avoid Houston.
Oh, we suck again. Yeah, please hit the like button and subscribe button if you haven't already. There's 80 of you knuckleheads in here. We appreciate that. Helps us get seen more. JD, I agree. They're going to be lucky at this point to get an NIT bid. Everything has been... It's been a weird season. It's been a roller coaster of a season. So... I don't know if
honestly, I really do wish I could have seen what the growth of this team would have looked like healthy. I know it's not like that's how sports works.
You wonder what kind of influence Newman would have had on some of the younger kids and getting them into spots that
just what influence he would have had like early in the year. Because that was that the team was relying on him being a centerpiece.
And through all the cupcake games, or even through Hawaii and all of that, the Maui. C-Rex, the NIT is also a very big deal in Norwood. Let's not forget that. So.
I just got a text
from
Jason Kelsey.
Oh, does he want to hop on?
No.
You want to ask him if he wants to hop on to our little live show with 80 people?
Yesterday, I sent him a note that after that clip came out about their the audio of him and his mom and him and Trav together after the Super Bowl, I just sent him a note that hey, ultimately I'm glad. I know it was kind of, I just needed a girl name to name my daughter, and Kelsey just happened to kind of work because of, him being a UC tie. But I said, hey man, you guys, I appreciate the way it's worked out. You guys have been you've been an awesome influence. Trav's been an awesome influence. And I let him know, for the record, we talked about it. Kelsey did want him to win because his career's winding down, and she thinks Trav's going to be able to win 3 or 4 more because that's how a 12-year-old's brain works. But I let him know, you've taught her a lot about life this year. Much love, brother. And he said, thank you, Chad. I really appreciate this. It was an incredible year. Almost pulled it off. Happy to represent UC and all of them people that have been there for me along the way. Thank you for reaching out. I got to meet Kelsey one day.
Fair enough. Sounds like he might be at a game sometime.
That's pretty fucking cool. He didn't there's a couple people. He's one of them, especially now. And he's always gotten back to me. But especially now, I don't expect to hear back from Jason.
After he emerges from his log cabin with no service on his flip phone where he has to T9 the text message.
That's really cool. Very, very cool. for him to get back to me. Very cool.
Top G, I agree. I hate this conference too. Good news is there's only 4 more games and then a tournament, and then we are done out of here.
I'm so done with it. I'm so done with going to Greenville and Tulsa and, Bearcat Tony, you know why there's nobody believed in patience with the Reds? Because the Reds don't care. They don't care. Wes Miller cares. He wants to win. The Reds don't want to win. They want to make money.
It's also very, very different.
Yeah.
In that one is a sport where the team pays. Like, these two aren't even comparable. What are we doing?
The linebackers coach will have more tomorrow night.
With Dave.
With Dave and should we tell him?
No, I think that it should be a long tease.
We do have a very, very big special guest tomorrow night.
A long tease.
Aaron doesn't want me to tell you. But we have a large number of people in here that we would like to tune in tomorrow night, right?
Go for it. If it's confirmed, go for it.
It's confirmed. We're good.
All right.
We're
All
good.
right. Well, then let's drop it here. Bearcat Journal exclusive.
Tomorrow night, 7:30. 7:30 tomorrow night. So all you knuckleheads need to be ready tomorrow night at 7:30 as for the first time, Aaron, Cincinnati head football coach Scott Satterfield joins us on the BCJ podcast.
Oh, shucks, it should be a good one.
We'll get his thoughts on ECU. That's a North Carolina boy. We'll get his thoughts on just Greenville. What do you think about Greenville?
I don't ever have to go. Darn right, I don't ever have to go.
Damn right, C-Rex. The Reds have had 17 years under the Castellini ownership. Can we give Wes 3?
I like this C-Rex.
Thoughts on the women's basketball team? I don't have any. You guys keep asking. I don't know when. I don't follow. I've spent 7 weeks in the hospital with Kelly.
We don't cover it. I'm sorry.
I don't have thoughts on the women's basketball team. If they were good and they drove membership,
we won't be having Coach take questions from the peanut gallery. I'm not sure.
No.
I'm not sure the comments section will be on for that. Sam agreed. We may have to close the chat for that one.
Yeah, we're just going to talk to the coach. We're going to have him for like 30, 40 minutes, whatever it may be.
Will he also be on a beach?
I don't think we're there yet, Steven. I don't think we're there yet. I don't think I don't have enough of a relationship with Sat. And let me also clarify something on that. I didn't ask Luke to be on from the beach. I just said, hey, we're doing this thing. It was the Subathon. Like, we were trying to get this channel monetized. And I said, hey, can you come on? And he was like, well, I'm going to be in Mexico. And I was like, oh, then don't worry about it. And he was like, no, I'll come on. And I was like, no, it's fine. Like, we're going to have a ton of guests. Like, we'll be okay. And he's like, no, I'll come on. And what am I to say in that point in time?
That's an excellent comment. Oh my God. You got anything else, man?
I don't have a whole lot. Like, it was bad. There's no defending it. It was bad from the coaches. It was bad from the players. The effort wasn't great all night. They tried to rely on just being better. They tried to rely on being more talented. And what did I say last night? That I worried, like, when you beat a team by 30 points, when you beat the shit out of a team at home like they did, and then you get up 16, your intensity dips. And ECU's intensity did not dip that entire game. And in the end, they played harder. They played better. They won. It sucks. It was terrible. There's no excuse for it. There are reasons that it happened. One of them being guys didn't play hard enough. The guys didn't care enough.
Didn't have their best player.
ECU didn't have their best player.
Well, neither did Cincinnati.
Agreed. SADF will actually be an offensive line driven program, not just call ourselves one. That's fair. That's fair.
TEAM.
Together, everything means more. The coaches show should be tomorrow night. Very interesting. You'll be here at 7:30 for Coach Satterfield, though. The Wes Miller show doesn't begin until 8. And then I'm sure after Coach Satterfield, Dave and I will yell about something. Although I don't have a lot to yell about at this point. Like, I'm not going to yell much about tonight. They didn't play well. And when you don't play well, it doesn't matter if you have more talent. It doesn't matter if you have better players. Yeah, he was pissed off. I listened to it before we did this.
Did you?
He was not happy. That's why I always, when you text me like, are you ready yet? I'm listening to the post game. And he was, well, you're going to hear that until they win because he's pissed when they don't win. I can't help what you like, guys. I can't help what you're tired of. That's not, I can't do anything about that. I can't control your expectations. I can't control what's unacceptable. I can't control what's inexcusable, inconscionable, incorrigible. Anything that begins with N, I can't control.
I know people are starting to put team acronyms in here, but team actually stands for Then Everyone Arrived in Madison.
Yeah, it's a good one, Sam. Get me back to 2017, where our biggest worry was getting Flow Hoops to work to see Gary score 20 points while a guy with a steel drum plays in the background.
I love that this is the second time Sam has dropped this joke in the chat.
Yeah.
And this version was better. Well done.
He improved it. Like if the first one wasn't great.
No, well done here.
The first one didn't have the right.
You set the tone with the steel drum and everything.
We can hear the steel drum from where was it? The Bahamas? No, it
was in the Caribbean. It was
Caribbean.
in the Caribbean.
Virgin Islands. I think Fredericks. God, I can't remember his name. The JUCO that they picked up was from the Virgin Islands or something. So they played a tournament in the Virgin Islands so he could go back home. It was on Flow Hoops. Nobody could watch. There was. And look, man, I'm a sucker for a steel drum. I love a steel drum. One of my favorite songs of all time is the live version of Ben Kotzer, Jane Says, for Sean Fredericks. There you go, Tom. Jane Says, the live version with the steel drum. Like, I could listen to that 100 times in a day just to listen to the steel drum. I'm a huge steel drum guy. Cayman Islands, that's what it was. Rashawn Fredericks. Cayman Islands. All right, guys. All right.
Yep.
Jackson Bart. That's my guy. Jackson Bart. Love Jackson Bart. Hopefully he's still connected and like I know he loves the Bearcats. So maybe he's listening to the 54th minute of this therapy session.
Doubt it.
And here's the Jackson Bart love. All right, everybody. Thanks for tuning in. I think these are important because look, nobody's happy with that. But we got to laugh. We got Princess Bride jokes. We got to talk about steel drums, and sometimes you need to just vent a little bit and have a place. Everyone go watch Princess Bride. Tomorrow night, 7:30, Scott Satterfield joins Dave and I. Did I tell you we're going to have another guest tomorrow, Aaron? Are you aware of this?
Not Dan Simon?
No. Dave's wife is not going to be home tomorrow during the podcast. So Will Simone will also.
I thought you were going to say it was the inflatable donkey or whatever.
No. Dave's son Will is also going to be on the show tomorrow night. What I would tell you is be prepared at 8 that we might have to have this conversation again.
Look, Will was fine through the Bearcat brunches. I think we'll be all right.
But his wife was there.
Not every time.
Most of the time.
Not every time.
We'll see how Will does. Dave said yesterday. I was driving home tonight and talking to Dave, and Dave told Will, like, hey, you're gonna have to be like, we're gonna be talking to someone important tomorrow. Nobody ever said anybody was a bad fan, Shoot.
I think he's addressing the chat. Yes.
Yeah. Wes is going to be fine long term.
Nobody's
satisfied with tonight.
I just wanted to agree.
Okay. And Dave was like, you know, I'm going to need you to be quiet tomorrow, Will. We've got an important interview on the podcast. And Will said, basketball or football? And Dave said, football. And he goes, okay, because basketball's bad, right? And I was like, Dave, you're an asshole.
On brand. Also tonight, very accurate.
Yeah. We'll see you tomorrow. That's the live nightcap / therapy session. Brought to you by Galactic Fried Chicken. Right here on BearcatJournal.com.
See it.